Hello everyone, I'm recording this video still from Quartzsite, La Posa, packing up, probably heading out today to go back to Minnesota, Wisconsin to try to spend some time with friends and family over the holiday season, and hopefully fairly quickly thereafter I'll be going back out and choosing my next place to go. So most of the time that I've traveled, my travel has tended to be chosen for temperature, starting out kind of staring at the US map on Google and then choosing a destination that sounds interesting and then looking on Weather Underground, either the app or the website, both work well, for the US temperature map and confirming that the temperatures are approximately the range that I'm looking to be in. The type of person that would much rather be a little colder than too hot. So it's usually based on trying to get within those temperature ranges that I'm interested in. I have a feeling that I'm actually going to come back to Quartzsite and try this again just because I've really enjoyed my time here and it's gorgeous and warm and all that good stuff. But I've got a couple of things in the works that I don't know exactly how the plans are going to work out, so we'll have to see where I record the next one from. I am interested in coming back to Quartzsite January, February sometime to experience the hoopla over the big tent and the RV show and the rock show, all of that stuff. I think that'd be a lot of fun. A little leery about the crowds, so we'll see how that balances out in the end. So to recap from the last video, my current setup is a 2011 Ford Ranger towing a 2022 Taxa Cricket, and so far I'm loving that combination. I was originally planning on getting like a Ford Transit high-top van, but due to the just cost of that kept getting pushed out to the future. And then, like I said, discovered that I could do the Cricket a little more affordably. So I've gone that route. And I'm actually really enjoying having the detached trailer system. There are some benefits to that I'm still enjoying. So after buying the Cricket a few months ago, hindsight 2020, for showing your bad decisions, I dove headlong into a trip with my friend Judy. I had just figured that I had car camping experience, throw everything that I had from car camping trips into the truck bed and into the trailer and head out, and I'll just figure it out. And had never actually literally taken the trailer off the hitch yet when this decision was made. So yeah, that wasn't the best of decisions. I mean, I did get a really good walkthrough from the dealership. Their techs were really awesome to explain everything, but there's a huge difference between doing and seeing things done. And having not been used to RVs before I got this trailer, I didn't have any experience to go back onto, so everything is new. Situation was, Judy had an event that she needed to go in North Dakota, so I thought it was a great opportunity to get out and do that and have a lot of fun doing it. We got a really nice campsite in North Dakota, Cheyenne Oaks. I'll put a link somewhere, and absolutely gorgeous place. She got a lot of cool shots that you're probably seeing, and it was the time of year that it was just, all the trees were perfectly turning. It had just rained. I think she actually got a picture of a rainbow. It was the perfect idyllic setting to do what we were attempting to do the first time out. Can't recommend Cheyenne Oaks enough because it is a really well-maintained campground, and we really enjoyed the scenery of the place and the facilities they had. I think I've only really been to one or two campgrounds in my car camping days, primarily just because they tend to focus on the services that I didn't need at that point, being in the car, because I couldn't hook up to power all that easily. Water I had figured out from storage containers, and the big problem was that I had no way to take care of hygiene needs that you need hookups for. So I was mostly just staying around rest stops and gas stations, that type of thing, and utilizing those services that way. So RVs didn't pull to me much, but I can certainly see the convenience of if you do have a rig that utilizes them. Oh my God, it's so much easier to just plug into shore power. Your power is done. Plug into water. You don't have to worry about water. I don't think that I will be doing it as an intention because I do tend to like dispersed camping more. And I like the challenge of figuring out how to boondock without being on grid. So that being said, I can certainly appreciate the services, if not the cost of most campgrounds. It does offend my frugality a little bit. So I haven't gotten to the Cheyenne Oaks campground. Judy went off to explore and have fun because she wasn't on board for figuring out the trailer. She was there for her event and to accompany me. The swearing started up pretty intensely and started to wonder what the heck I had done. I mean, I'm fairly laid back, really slow to frustrate, but it was just a case of doing everything for the first time and not having the experience of how to work out some of the simpler things. I mean, even getting the hitch wheel attached so you can get it off hitch, and doing the jacks and all of that stuff just takes it out of you if you're always trying to figure out, am I doing this right? It's a lot more energy to put into that stress. So I think there's a lot of benefit to really over budgeting time to get things set up, and we didn't over budget time. I put myself in a fairly tight timeline for my remote work and kind of messed this experience up. I think it just came down to me being overconfident from being car camping so much, and a lot of road trips with Judy that we did motels, and just figured we'd work it out, it would work, and it just doesn't fully translate to doing something completely radically new. I will mention a little bit about the Cricut. I mean, it's nice, and a whole video is probably coming just on the Cricut itself, because it is a kind of neat system. You know, it's got a built-in stove, built-in water, built-in furnace, so it covers a lot of the bases. And the beauty of the Cricut is it really only has one device to kind of open it up. There's a lever system in the front that it's not a complicated slides, it's not complicated pullouts, or a lot of the other trailers I've seen in the past have a lot of moving parts. And this has pretty much one moving part that takes about 15 seconds to deploy. And so that part of the initial setup went as planned. That felt really good. Got it up before dark so that we were safe to be inside if it rained, which it did a little bit, and all of those concerns. But I must say that, again, the rest of the stuff got pretty tricky. A lot of this video is about power and power systems and the story of this first time out with a trailer. And there's a difference between having power through the shore power and remembering that the appliances and the plugs inside the trailer are rated for different power levels. I think I blew just about every small fuse in this entire setup that first camping trip, and then got to learn how to replace fuses. But midway through the trip, we were running most of the things that we thought we could use and needed to use to cook with, and both me and Judy enjoy tea and coffee and that kind of thing. So we had the kettle and a small electric heater running off of just extension cords to shore power, because the circuits in the taxa are not fully rated for that high of output, at least to the best of my knowledge at this point. Still researching that and playing around with that. So power, that's one of the main focuses I'm taking for the video. From my car camping days, the fact that I remote work while traveling and have laptops, monitors, internet, all of those power needs. The solution I came to at the end of my car camping days, and still have, is my Jackery 1000. Not at all sponsored. Man, that'd be wonderful. But I've never regretted that purchase. It takes the guesswork out of power in such a way that it's got a very good inverter, and so you can power more things with it than the smaller inverter for the Cricut. And it just, having that kind of bucket of energy that you don't have to worry about how you're going to manipulate with it, is a wonderful thing. When I was originally car camping, I did take the credo more of, I'm going to learn how to do power and batteries and build systems. And so my system grew over a couple of years. Originally just had a roughly 500 watt DC plug-in inverter that ran well until I tried to power a lot of things from it, and again blew the Ranger fuses. So learned where those fuses are, replaced all those fuses, and then switched over to once I read the instructions well, the recommended way of doing that much power, which is running it off battery clips to the inverter and then running power out of the inverter. Did that for quite a while, running the power through an extension cord to the workspace that I was working in, to a surge protector, and then being able to run all of my devices. As long as the truck is on, what I've tended to find in most of my research, again, do your own research, is that most alternators in most modern cars will accommodate a fair amount of energy, at least up to the level that I had an inverter for. So I had that built-in safety net that I wasn't going to drain my battery from the truck. So right before I went to the Jackery, I did try one last system of setting up a system that went, again, battery clips to inverter, power cord, and power cord fueled both the things that I was working on that day and a battery charger to a lead acid battery that I had in a container in the car. At that point, it was in the Escape. And it certainly worked, but lead acid batteries are fairly finicky as far as the draw you put on them, and I just didn't know enough, and it didn't work incredibly well for me. Once I got the Jackery, again, it's taking a small little bucket, and you now have a huge bucket. So at that time, since I had the budget, I bought the convenience of the Jackery. Still use it today to power most of the uses that I need for my remote work. So the one issue that does come with any power solution you've got is, so you have a bucket of power, let's call it, the battery, and you can run that down, but at some point you need to refill the bucket. So currently I've got two solutions for that. One, which is the same system of battery clips to inverter to 120 volt plug that plugs into the Jackery and plugs and charges it just like you were in a house. Fairly fast charging and works to get it recharged. I think it's like in 8 hours. So it's not great on fuel efficiency. I am looking at getting a generator to try to supplement that need, but still in the research and budgeting process for all of that. The Jackery does have a DC connection that you can plug in and slowly charge through the truck as well, but it's just so much faster to do with a battery clip. The other side of that, to refill the buckets, both for the trailer and for the Jackery, so that I can power the rest of my life, is solar. And I have played around with solar. I have two Renogy panels that are working fairly well for me, but it's almost a whole video to describe what that is going through because it's very complex. It's easier and more complex than I thought it was going to be. So I'll leave that for later, but it is I'm very pleased with the panels running to the Cricket, and then I'm just siphoning some power off for the uses that I need power for. I think the main takeaway that I am trying to make sure that I get across is that no matter what you try to do, don't be afraid of trying. Know that you might fail at it, but just take that as an opportunity to research, fix it, and try again, and learn. I would say that the most exciting part of this experience is the learning of how to do things that you didn't think were possible, and the satisfaction that comes from building that type of a system that works. At least that's what it is for me. Hopefully I can be that source of shortcutting some of the research that I've had to go find and spend time doing to fix some of the mistakes and some of the problems that I've had. That's the intent, or it's at least part of the intent of this channel, is to be that type of a resource for other people as well. So after this enjoyable trip with Judy, again, the trip itself was wonderful. The work, the intent of getting the trailer learnings was painful. But after that pain was done, I went back home very intent to get back out there and keep trying, but stayed in my home base for, I think, a little over a week, so that I had the opportunity to, again, try to fix some of these issues, try to learn some of the systems in an environment that if I get frustrated, if I got stymied with a process, I could go to somewhere and do more research or figure it out and have the comforts of home rather than being stuck. I really do think it's a good idea to always test things out knowing it's going to take way longer than you expect and have a backup plan and camp at home for a few days until you get the confidence to know at least the basic systems and know that it's going to be a little easier when you're out disconnected from some of those support systems. Once I had done that for a short time, again, did go back out for another test thing as a solo trip. I think spent most of my time in Kansas, which, yay, Kansas, really like Kansas rest stops, just for the clarity that most of their rest stops are very clear about how long you can stay there, where you should park, all of that information that gets a little dicey if it's not clear. I know some of the eastern states that I have tried, which is why I don't go to east, that they have very strict time limits on, you can be here, 6 hours or 2 hours even, I've seen. And it's just nice to have, I think Kansas across the state at the time that I'm recording this at least is 24 hours. So that gives you time to stop, rest, figure stuff out, and make sure you can keep moving and be safe. So I spent some time traveling through Kansas, hitting a lot of rest stops, and then also found a RV campground kind of out of the way in Kansas that was a fairly affordable solution and had the bare necessities. It wasn't beautiful, it wasn't gorgeous. I'll throw some pictures up that are pretty, but it's certainly not. I didn't go there for the scenery. I went there to make sure I was comfortable with the systems again still. And again, Kansas, much warmer than Minnesota and Duluth this time of year. So it's still an improvement to sit outside and be comfortable versus being freezing. And so with that, I think I'll wrap up this one, and I will be back with my next adventure or tips and tricks if I'm not back on the road by the time that I record the next one of these. Be well. Talk to you guys later.